Good afternoon. As the Member of Provincial Parliament for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes, and Ontario's Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, it's an honour to welcome everyone to Brockville and Elizabethtown Kittley. We're honoured to have Premier Ford and Ontario Solicitor General, the Honourable Sylvia Jones, with us. We're also joined by Brockville Mayor Jason Baker and our host mayor, Brant Burrow, from Elizabethtown Kittley. We're here to share some great news for our region, and I have some special guests from Eastern Ontario to also recognize. My cabinet colleague, the Honourable Marilee Fullerton, MPPs Goldie Gomari, Jeremy Roberts, and Jim McDonnell. I'd also like to welcome some mayors here today, Mayor Nancy Peckford from the municipality of North Grenville, and Margus Bester from Greater Napanee. And finally, I'd like to welcome Joanne Bezabetz, the CEO of the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Care Centre, Tracy Gunton, Deputy Regional Director of Eastern Regional Institutional Services, Chris Jackal from OPSEU, and also Smokey Thomas from OPSEU. And I'd like to acknowledge former Senator Bob Runciman. Senator Runciman has always been a big believer in the potential for this facility and its amazing staff to provide female inmates with significant mental health challenges the help that they need. Senator, your efforts helped make today possible, and I'm so very proud to have worked with you on this initiative and with community leaders. It's now my honor to welcome back to the podium and back to our wonderful community for the second time in a week, someone who has been a tireless advocate of Eastern Ontario, Premier Doug Ford. Premier.
That's great. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Minister Clark, for the warm welcome. And it's great to be back in Brockville. We had a great time last week with the Prime Minister announcing a new 3M factory to make N95 masks. I just told the mayor here, boy, we're showing a lot of love to the folks in this region. So Steve, I have to tell you, you're doing an incredible job, a terrific job for your community, and you're an absolute champion as an Ontario's Municipal Affairs and Housing Minister. So thank you for all the great work you're doing. And today, we have more exciting news for you. I'm also thrilled to be here with our all-star Solicitor General, Sylvia Jones. And as you were saying, Minister, Chris Jackal and my good pal, Smokey Thomas, I just saw him when I walked through there, from OPSEU. You're all doing a great job, who has been supporting our correctional officers and our all-star Eastern Ontario team. And man, we have a great team here. Minister Dr. Marilee Fullerton, Minister Lisa MacLeod, Minister Todd Smith, MPP Daryl Cramp, MPP Jim McDonnell, MPP Jeremy Roberts, and MPP Goldie Gomari. So folks in this region, Eastern Ontario, you are really well represented. They're absolute champions. We also have a number of fantastic mayors here today. Mayor Jason Baker from Brockville, Mayor Brant Burrow from Elizabethtown Kittley, Mayor Nancy Pickford from North Grenville, and my good pal, Mayor Jim Harrison from Quinte West. They're all absolute rock stars, and thank you for your true leadership throughout this pandemic. My friends, I want to take a moment to thank each and every correctional officer and staff member across the province. As Chris can tell you, we have over 6,700 incredible correctional staff who have all been working hard to keep us all safe. I know the last few months have been really, really tough on everyone, especially the correctional services guards. But also, all of you have stepped up to the plate to protect your community. We truly appreciate your dedication and commitment to looking out for us during these difficult times. I want our correctional staff to know that we will always have your backs, and especially the Solicitor General. I can tell you at the cabinet table, there's no one that fights harder for correctional services, folks, than the Solicitor General. And I know the Solicitor General has been working hard to upgrade the corrections system and make sure you have the tools and the resources you need to do your job. That's why our government committed $500 million over 5 years to modernize correctional facilities and support frontline correction staff. We're hiring 500 more frontline correction staff, 500 more boots on the ground to provide relief to our corrections team. And today, we're building on that investment with a launch of our all-new Eastern Region strategy. As part of the strategy, our government is building and modernizing 4 correctional facilities right here in Eastern Ontario, including a new correctional facility right here in Brockville and another brand new facility in Kemptville. And I just left Kemptville, great people there. Minister Jones will share more details about all of these projects in the very near future in a few minutes here. But I want to be clear, these investments will help promote safety, provide additional tools and supports, and improve the work environment for our frontline correctional staff. That includes mental health services, improved professional development space, and more training for staff. These 4 projects will also help create jobs right here in Eastern Ontario, both during construction and once the facility is built. It's clear these investments will contribute significantly to our economic recovery. But at the end of the day, it's about public safety and protecting our frontline correctional workers. They have our backs and we have theirs. Let's build a better correction system together. And thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to our Solicitor General.
Well, thank you, Premier. Our government has been clear in our commitment to public safety and healthy communities. It's been our top commitment from day one, and it has remained vitally important during the COVID-19 emergency and recovery. A critical foundation of public safety is our correctional system, and our corrections facilities have grown out of date and insufficient over the past decades. We must and we will do better. Today, our government is turning our vision into action and delivering on our priority commitment to improve correctional services and modernize correctional facilities across Ontario. That is why we are proud to announce the Eastern Region Corrections Infrastructure Strategy. This is an ambitious strategy with big objectives, because anything less would not allow us to bring the correction system forward to where it needs to be for the communities of Eastern Ontario. We will build new facilities to address overcrowding, provide greater capacity for staff training, and deliver improved services and programs for those in our custody. The St. Lawrence Valley Correctional and Treatment Centre, where we are here today, will be expanded with a dedicated unit for female inmates. The centre partners with the Royal Ottawa Hospital, one of Canada's foremost mental health centres, to deliver secure, rehabilitative programs for male inmates with severe mental health issues. And as part of our Eastern strategy, these programs will be available to female inmates also. In addition, the Brockville Jail, which opened in 1842 and is Ontario's oldest, will be replaced with a new correctional complex on the grounds of the St. Lawrence Valley Correctional and Treatment Centre. Our government strategy will also centre on the construction of a new Greater Ottawa Correctional Complex in Kemptville on land already owned by the people of Ontario. This new state-of-the-art correctional complex will improve staff safety and ensure these dedicated men and women have the supports they need to perform their duties with confidence. It will feature modern design elements, including risk-classified housing as an alternative to segregation, contemporary programming capabilities, and single-cell occupancy. Once the Greater Ottawa Correctional Complex is completed, this will provide opportunities to deliver improved programming and services at the existing Ottawa Carleton Detention Centre. We are also expanding the Quinte Detention Centre with a new building to provide significantly more space for inmate programming and a dedicated female living space with single occupancy units. This is a plan that communities in this region can have confidence in. It sets a new standard in our province, and it represents the first time a government has taken such a holistic approach to addressing the service needs of a unique region. It is a bold new approach to addressing the challenges facing the correctional services system and to enable our correction staff to do their jobs safely and securely. The Eastern Ontario Correctional Infrastructure Strategy will provide a roadmap for rebuilding and modernizing correctional services across Ontario. Thank you. I will now turn it over to the Mayor of Brockville, Jason Baker.
Thank you very much, and to all of the ministers in the room, my mayoral colleagues, welcome to Brockville. Premier, we spent some time together last Friday, and this week it's Thursday, so I'm keeping Wednesday in my calendar open next week for yet another good news announcement for our region. And a good news announcement it is. The City of Brockville certainly takes pride in the fact that we are the host of the oldest jail in Ontario, but we will also take pride in having one of the newest jails in Ontario. And I know on behalf of the staff that work at the facility, it will be welcome news to have a brand new facility on these grounds that we stand on today. It is a big day for our region, and not just Brockville, but the Leeds and Grenville region. And I know I can speak on behalf of Mayor Peckford in her good news today as well, that residents of her community will likely be employees in this community, and residents of my community will likely be employees of her, such is the nature of work here in Eastern Ontario. So our thanks on behalf of the City of Brockville to the province for seeing the need to continue to improve our infrastructure. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to the Mayor of Elizabethtown-Kittley.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Not to put too fine a point on it, the previous mayor welcomed you to Brockville, but I hate to point out that we're on this side of the street, and this is Elizabethtown-Kittley. So welcome everybody to the Township of Elizabethtown-Kittley. And thank you to the provincial government for today's announcement. I echo the sentiments that the previous speaker expressed. Good news for the entire region beyond just Brockville and Elizabethtown-Kittley, Quinte West, the Quinte region, Kemptville. This is a good news story on so many levels, because it will bring services to the people that find themselves in circumstances where they need those services, but it will also provide good quality jobs for a very wide region throughout the province. And certainly the fact that we have these quips about which side of the street that we're on, and whether it's Brockville or the township, in reality it doesn't matter. The level of collaboration here is something that you've seen extend between municipalities and the province and the federal governments, and it exists at this lower tier level as well. The Mayor Baker and I are in very frequent contact on a number of issues. So what's good for him is good for me, and vice versa. So again, thank you to all of the guests that are here, all of the ministers and my fellow mayors, and especially thank you to the province for making this very significant investment, not only here, but throughout the region. So thank you very much.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. Just a reminder that it's one question and one follow-up, please.
That's great.
First question comes from Rob Ferguson from the Toronto Star. Please go ahead.
Hi, Rob.
Hello, Premier. I hope you can hear me. The cell phone line is not great here today. Just going to ask, my colleague Chris Rashowi has been on a tour of a couple of Toronto schools today, and it sounds like there's going to be about 27 kids in some of the classes there. So does that sound a little high to you, and do you have any concerns about that?
Well, we've provided over $100 million to the school boards on top of the $100 million that they can spend on hiring or PPE or whatever they'd like to hire. Spend it on top of that. We're putting another $30 million until they can go out and hire more teachers. So we're really relying on the school boards. I had a great conversation, Rob, with all the directors of school boards right across the province today, along with the Minister of Education was on the line, as well as all the chairs of all the school boards. And I just told them I have all the confidence in the world that they're going to be able to get through this and make sure that the students and the staff are in a very safe environment. And I truly believe that we have the safest, most cautious plan in the entire country, bar none, and full stop. We've appointed Dr. Heyer, one of the most respected doctors in the country, to oversee the opening and outbreaks right across this province, be it education or long-term care or within the agriculture sector, but it's all hands on deck. As I mentioned before to our cabinet, every single ministry has to focus on reopening the schools here.
Follow-up?
Yeah, another school-related question. In the next week or two, a lot of university kids are going to be moving into residences. And I wonder if you have any reservations or concerns about that after what we've seen in university residences in the States.
Yeah, I saw what's going down in the U.S., but the U.S., as much as I love them, they're a terrible example on you know, how to open up, and the cases are being spread all over the place down in the U.S. And I had a great conversation with Mayor Watson in Ottawa, which has the University of Ottawa along with Carleton and Algonquin College. I'm just going to speak to the young people. Guys, just don't go out there. No parties at the beginning of the week. Just hang in there. You're going to have later on, when we all get through this, you can party after, but just hang in there, because what's going to happen is, you know, God forbid someone gets COVID and you're at these big parties. I've seen them. I had 4 girls. I dropped them off at university and probably drove by a few times a few days later. But you know, guys, just hang in there.
Next question.
Cool your jets with the partying. That's all I can tell you, man.
Next question, please.
Next question comes from Mike Crawley at CBC News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Premier. Tomorrow marks 4 weeks since Toronto and Peel moved into Stage 3. So that basically means that the vast bulk of the province has been in Stage 3 now for at least 4 weeks. When you take a look at the general trend line in terms of COVID cases that we're seeing now here at the end of August, how would you describe the relative success of Stage 3 reopening?
Well, I think they did. They've done a really good job, Mike. All the areas, be it Peel and Toronto, you know, some of the tougher areas in Windsor that had to be held back a little bit, but everyone's moving forward. They're doing a great job. I looked at the numbers today. 4 regions represent 89% of, or 89 cases out of 118 come from 4 regions, but they're large regions. You know, they're really large regions, be it Toronto, Ottawa, Peel, and Windsor. But they're doing extremely well still. I think Toronto was 22 cases. I could be wrong. I thought it was 22. They told me. And when you consider there's almost 3 million people, they're doing a great job, and the Chief Medical Officer of Toronto is doing a great job, along with all the other 33 of them. Really have confidence in our public health system.
Follow-up.
Another question from a colleague of mine, Lorinda Reddicock of CBC. Some parents of children with disabilities are telling us that they're not sure whether they should send their kids back into the classroom because they don't really know yet what the plan is going to be for their kids with special needs specifically. So they're worried about safety. What more can you tell us about what school is going to look like for in the classroom for kids with special needs?
Well, another great question, Mike. I understand the parents are anxious, they have anxiety. I fully get that, and I fully understand, and we're pulling out all the stops for kids with special needs. We're putting in, well, we announced the $10 million a couple of weeks ago, another $12.5 million just yesterday as well. So we're really focused on it. I specifically called the Minister of Education today to discuss children with special needs, and we're going to make sure they're able to get back in the classroom safely. They have the same rights as every other child in this province, and we'll make sure we pay special attention to children with special needs. And I fully understand the parents being anxious on this. I understand.
Next question.
Next question comes from Ashley Legasic from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Premier. Thanks for taking my question.
Oh, thank you.
My first question is about a piece published in the Star about a teacher who made a drinking bingo game out of what she called the education minister's most popular non-answers in these news conferences regarding back to school. So a lot of people on Twitter were responding and were having fun with it. Do you think this shows a lack of confidence from educators in the back to school plan and the education minister?
Well, I can tell you, I have all the confidence in the world in my Minister of Education. I always say he's been in this game for 30 years. I've never seen a better Minister of Education than Stephen Lecce. I think the world of the teachers. I have all the confidence in the world. The teachers are going to step up like the correctional service officers stepped up, that the grocery clerks stepped up, and the truck drivers stepped up, PSWs, frontline healthcare workers, doctors, and so on and so forth. At the peak of this pandemic, when they were going into long-term care and they had outbreaks, and we all know that story, but they put these patients and the community ahead of themselves. And I want to tell you a message to the teachers. I have all the confidence in the world. You're going to step up to the plate. You're going to do an incredible job. You're going to do everything you can, not only to keep your staff and your whole team and all the teachers safe. Your number one priority is to keep those kids safe, and I know you're going to do it.
Follow up?
Thank you. And my next question is about the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. This has obviously sparked another wave of calls for justice and an end to anti-Black racism in North America. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this incident and about the boycott by NBA players in response.
Well, the incident was very unfortunate, but I really don't like comparing anything to the U.S. compared to Canada. No matter if it's our teachers or our police officers, we're we take different approaches up here, and I understand there's issues, and we're addressing those issues, and we're putting more training into our police officers as well, and we're going to help everyone right across the board. It's not, in this country, it's not about do you love the police or do you love the Black community. You can love both. Our family has worked extremely well within the Black community. I've never kept any secret about, I think, the world of all our police officers, our correctional service officers, EMS, firefighters, and we can all get along. We really can, and we will get along. So there's areas that we need more education on. Absolutely, I don't disagree. We're putting the resources there, and we've also brought in Special Advisor Jamil Javani, well before any of this happened, by the way, back in December when I met Jamil and asked him for his support to make sure he takes care of any issues that we may be seeing in large urban areas like the Torontos, like Peel region, but I just think we're better than the Americans, and that's not a knock against the Americans. The fact is we're just better than them. Simple as that.
Last question.
Last question comes from Travis Danraj at Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi,
Hi,
Travis.
Premier.
How you
Thanks for
doing?
taking my question today. This is a non-education related question. It's for a colleague of mine, Camille. I'm wondering if you can specifically weigh in on the Raptors boycotting their game. What do you think of that, and do you think that was the right decision?
Sure, that's going to be their decision. I respect their decision, and they'll make that decision with the NBA and with the Toronto Raptors. And I understand the message you're trying to get through, and I think everyone understands it. And good for them. And once they have an opportunity to get a message through, then they'll get back to the courts, and we'll be watching the Raptors win another championship this year.
Follow up?
Yeah, and the second question is on education, and it's in regards to the protocols that were released yesterday by the health team and the government. Do you think it's appropriate for a principal or educators to be making determinations as to whether or not a child may be exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19? Or don't you think a medical professional should be doing that? Because the guidance says that a principal will determine whether or not a child should go into isolation and if they are indeed exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms.
Well, first of all, I think it starts at home, the responsibility. If your child is showing any symptoms, please go to your local physician or other symptoms and get your child tested. That's the reason we're one of the only provinces that I can think of now, since they have the federal money. It might have changed, but we're the only province that had hired 500 public health nurses. Now we're going to add another 125. We'll have 625 nurses that are going to be traveling around and doing the test. But Travis, I usually don't do this, but I'm going to do this. We have Dr. Marilee Fullerton, and I'm so proud of what the minister has done on long-term care, and no one understands health care better than the doctor, being involved for the last 30 years as a doctor. So Dr. Fullerton, if I could ask you to come up and you could maybe put your thoughts. Did you hear the question?
I'll ask you just to rephrase that and make sure that I'm answering what your question is.
So, Minister, thank you for weighing in. So basically it's about some of the protocols that were released yesterday. One of the protocols, guidance says that essentially a principal will make a decision as to whether or not a child is exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms and then go into isolation and contact the parents, etc. Should that responsibility fall to an educator?
Well, I can tell you, as you've heard the Premier say, all of the care for children, the love for our next generation begins at home. And so when we ask the parents to be aware of whether their children are demonstrating any signs or symptoms of illness before they go to school, then the next level is obviously the teachers and the facilities within the school to create a layering of protection for our children as they return to school. I know that the Chief Medical Officer of Health and the Minister of Education and the Premier and all of us in government want the very best for Ontario's children and the teachers working in our school system and the administrators and the principals. So it is in the best interest of everyone to do their part, and I'm very confident that there has been more scrutiny on this than ever before with all the information that we have nowadays, much more than from the beginning of this pandemic. So the information, the scientific evidence, the understanding of what we can do to protect our students, that's all been taken into consideration, and I think it's reasonable and fair to expect teachers and principals and administrators to be watching for any illness or signs of illness of children at school. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.